Good morning, everybody. Matthew and I are here again this morning. And today I wanted to dig in a little bit because we've gotten I had some interactions recently where people said, but so how do you know where they are?
Hmm.
Like where they are. It's like,
Right.
well, I don't know. How do you know where you are? Sort of an
That's a good
assessment. You have
response.
to sort of look at the situation,
Yeah.
look at the person, look at what's happening. So let's sort of, and what I'm talking about is how's your brain working?
Mm.
And other systems, global deterioration system, Allen cognitive scale, every other scale that I know about, and I know about quite a few of them, they act as though there's the static stage or level or functional ability that somebody has. And my awareness and knowledge about living with brain changes or just living with my own brain is that my abilities vary greatly over a 24-hour period, over the period of a week,
Mhm.
depend on whether or not I've gotten good sleep, depend on whether or not I'm stressed out about other things, depending on who all's in the environment with me and what they're asking of me and what I'm asking of them and how's that's going. What time of day? I mean, there's so many variables that determine how is my brain doing? How well is it doing? How mediocre is it doing? How yuck is it doing? But also, what can it take in? What can it process? And what can it do?
Yeah.
So when I arrived on the scene, which was quite some time ago, when it comes to cognition and dementia, the only things out there we're talking about levels, 7 levels or 7 stages, and Allen cognitive levels. Now there were 6 cognitive levels and 7 stages because these were whole different systems designed for different scenarios. But we were talking about people would go through these stages and they would be at this stage
Right.
as though it was a static thing. And what I found was that's not true. That's not how that works. And it was much more helpful to me, number one, to talk about what people still could do, not what they no longer could do. So we were sort of testing for what was missing. But at the same time, if you saw it missing one time, did that mean it was forever gone? And the answer is, well, no, that's not how it works.
Mm.
Sometimes it's forever gone, but sometimes it bobs around and it's back, it's gone. It just depends.
Yeah.
So I came up with the idea of brain states, like your brain is in a state of function. And then when things change or you change or something changes, it goes to another state. And then it may go back to sort of where it's most comfortable most of the time, but there will be variability. And when there stops being variability, that's what we really want to go, ooh, what's going on here? Why is this brain not varying?
Mm.
Um, an example might be with Lewy body, for instance, not sleeping,
Yeah. Yeah.
not going into pearl state, not
Mm.
actively going into pearl state, and sort of getting stuck in the amber ruby, emerald amber ruby. I'm in the wrong place with the wrong people and things are not going well. And I have to be on high alert and I don't like this sensory experience and there are bad things out there and I can't settle down. Or on the reverse, when I'm exhausted, I go to sleep and I may be gone for like 3 days in a row where I can't sort of come back to being active. So for me, it makes a lot more sense for us to talk about brain states and how my brain states usually are for me and what you're noticing about me. So, Matthew, when do you tend to be at your absolute best? And so, when we talk about brain states, for those of you who are not familiar, we talk about gem states because it's kinder and gentler and more helpful, I think, to talk about being in a sapphire moment where your brain is true blue and supportive of others. Diamond, where you're clear, you're sharp, but you're a little rigid, inflexible, but you can shine, but you can also cut. Emerald, where you're a little more on the foggy side. It's not as clear and sharp. There's flaws, there's mistakes.
Mm.
However, you're often on the go, but you don't always know where you're going, but you might skip steps or get stuck in a cycle.
Mm.
Either way. Amber, where you're really invested in the sensory experience and you still have enough skills, but you don't always know object for use. You don't always know purpose to have. So you can have you have no caution when it comes to safety. So those around you have to be super aware that you have no caution and you don't really appreciate the risks that you put yourself or others at. And then Ruby, when all fine motor stops and you have gross movement and strength, but not a lot of skill in any aspect of vision and mouth work and hands and feet and bodies and just in every which way. And when you're still, it's hard to get going. And when you're going, it's hard to be still. And then finally, in Pearl state, where you're more inside than outside, ruled by reflexes often. I'm not aware of the outside world much, really internal, much more internal processing going on. So if I say that, so I gave you a quick rundown, hopefully.
Yeah.
Matthew, what you thinking? What's your pattern?
Yeah. Soon after I come out of a Pearl gem state is when I get to my more sapphire. So the morning times is when I'm more sapphire.
Early morning times for you.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
You want to be super social at that time, though, or is that your brain sort of organizing itself and getting going for the day kind of thing?
So my wife would like me not to be on the side of super social, but I am more social in the morning. I have learned to use my prefrontal cortex being flexible
and personality traits that come in. He was a huge extrovert and really wants to make connections right away with his little sapphire self. And my sapphire self would like to bring into the world. Let's come in and let's sort of investigate the world and let's figure this out. And then we'll go be social. So my yoga class early in the morning, that's sort of just you do your own thing on your mat. Hey, that works for me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, and not only that, but you're also sweating a lot in there too. So
I am sweating.
How many people want to converse a lot when they're sweating? Yeah.
All right. So when are you more likely to be diamond, where you're real good with routines, you're great with that, but it's hard for you to think outside the box there. You really like when things go a certain way, it's great, but if it doesn't, it's jarring because you have a rhythm, you have a pattern, and it flows well.
Yeah. Well, I know one place I really go diamond is when my computer decides to freeze up a lot and it's having a hard time processing, and it starts to get to a point where it's more in a ruby gem state, and it may even go pearl. And then I'm like, that really shifts my gem state more into that diamond space. Yeah.
Because you rely on like the big screen, the second screen, the way the things are supposed to hook together.
Yes. Yeah.
And so when that's not working, it interferes with your rhythm and your routine and your work and how you get data and process it and what you're doing for someone else. So that's really irritating. When it works right, you're like zone. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And unfortunately, if somebody approaches me during that time too, I'm going to get, they may get more of a diamond response from me because I'm under that stress and pressure that we know diamonds are formed under in that moment. And so, yeah.
Yeah. And so then your emerald is classically when for you? Where you do a task, but then it's like, what's next? What am I supposed to do next? Hang on, wait a minute, let me think. Or oops, I skipped a step. Oh, okay, let me go.
Yeah, the afternoons. when I get into the afternoon, I start having that lull. I'm coming more down into that space where my processing, my skills aren't as solid. And so I notice I might start missing more steps, especially after lunch. When we start to get after lunch, like after I've eaten something, and all of that, that's when I start noticing that, ooh, shoot, darn it, I forgot to change that email thing to this, or, ooh, I almost forgot to put in this piece here, or,
or, oh, shoot, I was supposed to get gas on the way home.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Wow. Okay, so Amber, that where you're all about the sensory experience, and like if you like it, you want more of it, and if you don't, you want nothing to do with it, but you still have enough ability skill that it's not just like this global thing. It's a little more skillful than that, but a little dicey.
Yeah, evening time. So once we really start to get into the evening time, more sensory driven, I'm looking for spaces and places where I'm getting what I want and maybe even potentially need. when it comes
So
to
let me
sensations.
ask you this. So Nikki is more of an introvert. You're more of an extrovert. So in the evening, I'm thinking you would be happy to have a lot of folks over and sort of hang out, watch TV and watch a sport on TV and
Mhm.
have something to drink and eat and all that good stuff. And Nikki is like,
Yeah, not
let
as
me
much. Yeah.
do that. And that'd be fine, but I don't want to be part of it.
Yeah, no, yeah, not as much. More like let's turn something on Netflix and watch a good show or something like that, not necessarily involved with a bunch of people.
Uh-huh,
Yeah,
uh-huh. Sort of a smaller gathering.
right.
Does she want to talk about what she's watching?
No, definitely not when it's on. No. Afterwards, after the episode is done or the show is done or
Okay, there you
something, yes,
go.
maybe then she will talk and explain. But if she has to pause it and have to explain something, then we would see more of a diamond shift into a diamond
Ooh,
gem state
okay.
in that
Oh,
moment. So that is not a good thing to do.
yeah,
No.
because that goes amber, amber. Yeah. Okay. So then when are you tend to be Ruby? When do you do your Ruby part?
Oh boy. If I sit down, if
Uh-huh.
I sit down in the evening time, especially, I have a hard time getting going from there. Like if I don't keep myself going in the evening time, so if I don't keep myself on the move, then I'll keep going, and sometimes it'll be like, oh wait, it's time to stop. But then when I do stop and I sit, I have a hard time getting going. If something was needed to be done, or
Mm.
who did somebody lock the front door or something like that. I mean, like getting up and going gets to be a real challenge, and it may take some time for me to process whatever's happening in the moment, especially because when I sit down in the evening times, it's probably like milliseconds and I'm into a pearl
And then
gem
from that
state.
state.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So, and Pearl is when you do that, boom, I'm out. Yeah. All right. So, what we did today was talk about the gem states of a brain for someone. And we're not talking about dementia here. We're just talking about our own brain state changes through a 24-hour period and how, of course, any kind of episode or anything that goes on can shift us. So, come the next time we get together, we're going to highlight a little bit. So, why do we do this if it can happen with a person that doesn't live with dementia? What does it mean for someone who is living with the brain changes of dementia or depression or anxiety or you name it, anything really? Because brain states are how our brains are able to take in data, process data, use data, and respond or react to what's going on. And truly, when we can be tuned in to ourselves and the other person that's involved or people, we can be much more effective
Hmm.
as someone who can be supportive, can create an environment, can modify a task, can look at what we want to have happen and really understand why we may need to modify our agenda or why the agenda that the other person has could get them in trouble, but they can't see that.
Yeah.
So we're going to move forward in this a little bit because we have resources that we think are helpful. We have our GEMS card. You saw me refer to it. On the other side are responses to each of the GEM states on this side. And you'll notice there are no firm boundaries because we don't think there are. We don't think there are these discrete things. We think people flow, but you can pick up on it and then use it relatively easily and quickly with a little bit of training and skill building, which is why we do champions courses. But the other thing we have available is our care partner guide, the
Yes.
revised version, because it has a lot of more detail in it for when somebody's in this gem state. How do you notice that? What are some signals and what kind of support and help might they need in that time period? And what's the pattern of progression? And each person's unique. However, there is a pattern to it. And then finally, pretty soon there's going to be coming an app. We have an app, and the app will allow you not only to get the gem stuff, but beyond that, we also offer what's called the Goodson Library. It's a care partner library where it has lots of information about, ooh, these little brief clips where it could help you rethink what you think you know and how to support someone. That's in the offing. but the others are readily available. So till next time, take care of yourself, take care with your care, and be curious about your brain, because it turns out it's yours.
Mm.
And the more you know about it, the better you use it, the more you can help not only yourself, but those around you.
Mm.
So, take care, all. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Teepa. Bye, everybody.